What the fuck is up, gamers? It's your boy, The Goods. We are here for episode number 41 of Phoenix Wright, the video game. In the last episode, you guys, we had to do something. What did I do? I have to press every fucking statement. You were investigating the inspector? What on earth for?
I'm not at liberty to say.
Sorry?
I'd identified a distinct possibility that Gregson was involved in a case I was investigating. Regrettably, though, he was killed before I could secure the proof I needed.
Is the court to understand, then, that on that day in question you followed the victim to the scene?
No, I was privy to his movements in advance.
How?
I stole into his office in the yard and consulted his diary. The address on Fresno Street was noted in the 5 p.m. entry.
You illegally entered the man's office. In Japan, that alone would constitute a very serious offense.
As it does in Great Britain, I assure you. Is that not the case, Lord Van Zeeks?
I was aware of the possible consequences.
So, in summary, you were investigating the victim, and yet you refused to tell the court why. I didn't realize British prosecutors enjoyed such freedom to choose what to divulge under oath. Ugh, why did I ever think I could defend this man? Yeah, he needs to start fucking talking, dude. Alright. Hold it! Hold it! Had you ever been to the address before?
No, never. I only learnt of the place as a result of my investigations into Gregson's activities. There was no light inside when I entered, so it was all but impossible to make out anything.
But at 5 p.m., the sun would only have just gone down. It would still have been reasonably light outside.
The room has a window, but it was boarded shut. Very little light found its way into the room from outside, so it was extremely murky inside. I wouldn't have noticed if the victim was already lying on the floor.
There was no artificial light in the room, you say? You're quite sure?
I'm quite sure that the part of the room where the body was found was very dark. I have a feeling there was a small oil lamp burning on the desk, though I couldn't say for certain. Look, Mr. Naruhodo! There is a small desk in the room just here.
Yes, I remember, and there was an oil lamp on it, as well as the framed photograph.
When I entered the room, I closed the door behind me and started towards the desk to investigate.
And what did you find?
Nothing. I never actually reached the desk.
I haven't read ahead, so I don't know how long this part's gonna be. Hold it! But we're not even halfway through this part alone. So who fired the gun?
I have no idea. I didn't see anybody else in the room.
But you say it was very dark in there?
Yes, that's right. All I can tell you is, I didn't sense another's presence.
Aha! Then could it be that the gunshot actually originated from somewhere outside the room?
No, that's out of the question.
Oh.
Without doubt, the sound emanated from inside the room. I could smell the gunpowder.
I wonder if maybe it's some bullshit where like a torch was lit, like a candle, and then when it got to a certain length, it like caught the flame, like it was like going through it. You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't that be crazy? That'd be a crazy, like it pulled on, like it had the trigger. I don't know. And you say that's the point at which you noticed the revolver on the floor?
Correct. And I foolishly picked it up. That was carelessness on my part.
Presumably, then, the gunshot you heard came from the firearm that you somewhat hastily took into your hands.
In point of fact, my lord, I believe it did not.
What?
The barrel of the revolver I picked up was cold and there was no smell of spent powder.
But then, where on earth is the gun that was fired?
Whilst I would like to oblige you with an answer, I'm afraid I can't. I, too, would dearly like to know that.
Alright, we're getting there. Hold it! So far, none of this is really helping. A man, you say? One of the witnesses, I presume. That's right, one of the street merchants working on Fresno Street.
Who are these merchants?
A number of them had set up their stalls directly beneath the boarded window of the crime scene. A match seller, a newsmonger, and a peddler. They've all given statements saying they've heard the gunshot. and with that thought of danger, they ran inside to see what had happened.
Yes, Gina told us about that yesterday, didn't she?
They burst through the door with some force, it would seem.
They did. It almost gave me a heart attack in the process.
You're supposed to be the Reaper.
The first man to come in immediately noticed the revolver in my hand and fled.
A policeman patrolling on Fresno Street heard the commotion and was able to arrest the accused shortly after the incident occurred.
Anyway, the man's scream drew my attention in that direction.
Hold it!
What do you mean by that? In what way did the body appear?
I honestly can't explain it, but it's the truth. As far as I was concerned, the body hadn't been there until that point, and then suddenly there it was.
Did you perhaps hear the sound of the victim falling to the ground just beforehand?
At that moment, what I heard was the sound of the door flying open and the scream of the man who came inside first. Nothing more.
I see.
After the man fled, I examined the body. I was stunned to find it was Gregson.
Most curious circumstances indeed.
How the inspector was killed or how his body seemed to appear out of nowhere, I have no idea.
Objection!
Oh shit. Surely the court has heard enough. My lord, the cross-examination has clearly revealed that the accused, Burke Van Zeeks, is lying on multiple fronts. What is that supposed to mean?
Good gracious, counsel!
The defendant is lying, you say?
But the defendant is lying, you say?
In his testimony just now, he claims that he failed to notice the victim's body because the room was dark.
That's correct.
No, that's impossible. As proven by this candelabra. How does that prove anything? You examine the tip of the long candle. You can see it has been blown off by a powerful impact.
One would assume that the projectile from the firearm passed through the victim and struck the candle.
The problem comes when you consider the other two candles, which are clearly of a different length.
Yes, I can see that only the candle that appears to have been struck by the bullet is long.
We could reasonably expect someone to have lit all three candles together, which begs the question of why only one has ended up longer than the others. That must be because that particular candle was extinguished when the others were still burning. Ugh! That's right, when the candle was hit by the bullet, it obviously went out. But the other two candles still would have been burning. So the fact is, the victim's body would have been illuminated by the light still thrown by the candelabra, and the accused's claim he couldn't see the body clearly contradicts those facts. And now to the next lie. There's more? The accused also claims never to have visited the scene of the crime before.
That's the truth.
In that almost empty room, the police discovered something very unusual. A board covered from top to bottom in police documents and newspaper cuttings.
Yes, that's right. We saw it too.
It goes without saying that the contents of the police documents cannot be divulged. However, they include a number of reports from various historical cases, the oldest of which was from 10 years ago. 10 years ago? This is starting to sound familiar. And there's a common thread linking all of the documents on that board.
Indeed. What is this common thread, counsel?
They all relate to cases prosecuted in court by Burke Van Zeeks. All of them? And furthermore, all those cases are ones in which the defendant was acquitted.
Good lord!
Interestingly, none of those defendants are alive today, because all of them have been sent to their graves by the Reaper.
Oh no!
In short, that dingy little room is the Reaper's secret hideout, and his base of operations. The Reaper's hideout? And yet the Reaper would claim never to have been to his own secret hideout? No one would believe that. Nah, the truth is, we've been looking at this backwards.
Backwards? Explain, counsel.
Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper. When he discovered the location of the man's secret hideout, he was killed. As I'm sure everyone can imagine, by the Reaper's hand. What? I don't believe that shit for a second.
Order! 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 I hereby state the current opinion of the court. Barak von Zieks is an outstanding prosecutor who has rendered great service to his country. However, it is with deep regret that I must concur with Prosecutor Asogi's contention that the defendant's testimony exhibits a number of stark inconsistencies with the known facts.
All I have done is state the truth as I know it.
Kazuma's done a brilliant job as ever. No, he hasn't. He's drawing on his experience as a defense attorney to build his prosecution case, and it's formidable.
Counsel, you will submit the board that you just showed the court as evidence. I believe it to be fundamental in establishing the facts surrounding the Reaper's existence.
Thank you, my lord. Now that I got that, I can fuck him up. And now, the prosecution would like to call new witnesses to the stand. Witnesses who saw events unfold on the day in question.
They were mentioned in the previous testimony too, if you remember.
Yes, the street sellers who heard the gunshot and went running into the room.
Very well, lead the witnesses in. The defendant may step down from the witness stand.
Certainly, my lord.
I'm not gonna cut ahead to the walkthrough just yet. Alright, first of all, I know that guy. Second of all, who the fuck are they? So, witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court.
Names? We don't use names.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Course, mate. Names? We don't use names. Far too fancy for the likes of us.
We're just free and easy. Sell what we like, live where we want to live.
Give them all the vacant stairs. They will walk down Resner and spin a few words into a verse for them. Would I be right in assuming that all three of you make your living by selling wares on the street?
Yeah, everyone calls me gossip. I sell shorty little tidbits to passers-by, you know.
Jaunty little tidbits. Or titbits.
Got an absolute smasher for you, sir. Right up your ginnel it is. 6p is the price and not a penny less.
Wait, you're actually trying to sell it to me now?
Oh, come on, sir. Don't tell me you're not interested.
Try the man.
Give him the money and see what it is.
Pay the man, counsel.
Alright. 6 it is.
You won't regret it, sir. Now, got to listening ears on? Just between us, a young couple on Slot Street have just had twins.
Is that it?
No, it's not it. It's gossip, innit? It wants to spread. But that bit's up to you and your mouth, of course. I've got no more, you know. Want the juicy one? 6p a piece it is, if you're curious.
I am curious, yes, about what's going on under that fat bottom lip of yours. Namely, that unusual bruise or whatever it is that's poking out from your collar. Oh, he got choked. What about the next witness then? What name do you go by and what do you sell?
Me? I'm Venus. That's what everyone calls me. Funny, innit?
Oh my god!
I sell these lovely little fireworks to all the local school kids.
Damn!
6p a pop. What do you say?
You weren't exaggerating with little. Do they actually sell? I mean, I guess I can't even get mad.
Oh yeah, the second years can't get enough of my Venus firecrackers. Especially when I tell them if they get 100, they can blow up the school.
Not the most savory of ideas, young lady.
What you say, Daniel? Want a pot with 6p for a pop?
Wait, what? You want me to buy one?
Tell you what, I'll let you in on a little secret. If you get 100 of them, you can blow up the whole courtroom.
Try the woman.
Give her the money and see if she's right.
Pay the woman, counsel.
What the? Alright, I'll buy one.
Lovely stuff. Right then, this is something a bit extra just for you. The Venus special, only 600p.
600?
It's 100 in the regular fireworks. Nothing little about that, is there?
And there'd be nothing little about the punishment if I blew up the Old Bailey either. Oh! The noise! And the last witness. What name do you go by and what do you sell?
I'm a thinker, me. Think all sorts of thoughts. I think, therefore I am. I am, therefore I think. I think. Because I stand there on the street watching the world go on about me. They call me the Observator.
Get out of it, old man. Everyone calls you Sandwich. You know it.
So, you don't actually sell anything?
My problem is a problem I have, as they say. I give advice to and think what it means. I don't actually say anything now. Come to think of it.
Pity. No more purchases today, please.
Well, we have quite a cast here, it seems.
They conduct their business on Fresno Street from morning until night, my lord. And always in the same place, directly adjacent to the crime scene.
I see. And thus they heard the gunshot, I suppose.
Not only that, but they very bravely ran inside to see what was going on and witness the crime.
I'd be biggered. I thought, just between us.
Hey, Mr. Milo, what am I to do? What a terrible thing I saw!
We are to see his light and shadow, playing with our eyes. Is any of it real? Very well. The court will hear the formal testimony of these three witnesses now. You will all describe in detail what you witnessed and heard at the time of the incident.
Okay, so let me not skip anything. Okay. I don't want to like spoil myself.
We saw the whole thing from start to finish, we did! Everything from the moment they went in the building!
It was less than a minute after the Reaper had gone inside that we all heard a big bang!
Seems to me that quick to talk is quick to walk. Gossip couldn't wait to go and see what had happened.
I ran into the room and there he was, the Reaper, gun in hand, standing over the dead body!
I was scared half to death, me, so I ran off to find a cobber!
If these witnesses were there the whole day and saw everything, who did they see going inside the building? Only the victim, Inspector Gregson, and the accused, Barrick Von Zieks.
I've seen pictures of that Reaper in the paper. I know what he looks like. And just between us, folks love stories like this. I've made myself a tidy sum already.
But wait! The room was just one of several flats in the building. Someone from another flat could have done it! All those flats on Fresno Street are unoccupied.
Of course they are. They're small, damp, dirty, and expensive to boot.
The room in which the inspector was found is the only property in the building that's currently leased.
And we know the leaseholder's name, don't we? It's Hugh Boone.
The testimony the court has just heard would appear to leave little room for doubt. It's becoming increasingly difficult to see how anyone other than the defendant could have committed the crime.
No! Thank you for your candor, my lord.
Counsel for the defense, you may proceed to cross-examine the witnesses.
Yes, my lord. In a closed court like this without a jury, the judge is the only person whose opinion matters. I have to break down this testimony, somehow! I know the firecrackers are relevant, because they wouldn't have given us them otherwise.
Hold
I'll
it!
press that. Let me just make sure there's nothing else to do with that. Press statement, okay. When you say they, what do you mean exactly? Inspector Gregson and the defendant, Lord Van Zieks.
I suppose so. The likes of us don't know the names of High and Mighty. But I'll tell you one thing, it was the old Reaper that went in last, that's for sure and certain.
Just behind Inspector Gregson. Do they arrive at the same time as each other?
No, not at all. The first fella must have gone inside a good 15 minutes before we heard that gunshot.
The victim arrived 15 minutes before. Are you sure about that?
Am I sure? Am I sure? Doesn't seem likely that I'd have forgotten the fella with bright red hair like that, does it?
What?
Yeah, his hair really well red, wasn't it? Red and more flaming fireworks even!
And then fire red mop still burned on the inside of my eyelids, it is.
Wait a minute! You're saying the man was a redhead?
Weren't you listening, chum? Aye, it was a redhead, and he had a big trunk with him as well.
But Inspector Gregson's hair isn't red, not by any stretch of the imagination!
It seems likely the person you saw wasn't in fact Inspector Gregson at all, but some other third party. No, I hate to break it to you, but the witnesses are correct. What? Just have a look at this photograph of the victim taken at the scene. Yes, that's Inspector Gregson, all right.
And a red hairpiece.
Oh,
Of course! We saw one on the floor when we investigated the scene, didn't we?
I still refuse to believe Inspector Gregson wore a hairpiece, though.
The collar does seem to suit the man, one might say. A photograph will be submitted as evidence, please, counsel.
Okay, so now... Okay. And what became of the trunk that red-headed victim was supposedly carrying? I was informed that no trunk was found at the scene. So it just disappeared?
What? You expect us to have been watching the building every second, do you?
We definitely saw him in the dock going in, though. No question about that.
Okay, so now... we press... statement 4...
Hold it!
So then, you were the first person to arrive on the scene, is that right?
Here I was, kicked the door open like a professional, I did, and yelled out, "What's going on here?"
Lord Van Zeek claims that all he heard was a man scream, though.
And it was dark inside the room? Or was it dark inside the room?
No, not dark at all. There were candles burning on the wall,
Really?
and there was a fella collapsed on the floor. Just between us, it was the first thing I noticed when I got inside.
I see. Even though Lord Van Zeeks claims not to have seen any such lights on the wall.
The next thing I noticed was someone standing right beside the body.
The accused, Barrick Von Zeeks.
That's right, the pale-faced Reaper himself. I was a little shocked, I won't deny it, but I'm no lily-livered coward. I stood my ground and gave that Reaper some foul or something.
Do you have something to add, Mr. Sandwich? I need to make sure I don't have to do anything special here. Okay, so yeah, I need to... Hold on, go back into it.
There's really nothing to me. Hammered in the head, I am just two slices with no middle.
We need to inspect the notice board. Which I'm not going to bother to read what they're saying, because they're talking about the Red-Headed League. That's what I need to inspect.
Oh, what's this? Mr. Naruhodo, look!
Oh yes, it's a smudge of some kind. In fact, it looks just like a handprint.
And the color. That's blood, isn't it? Oh dear, how disturbing.
Okay, so then when he changes statement 4, then we'll present that. Okay, we'll deal with that later. It's not what I wanted to do. Hold on, motherfucker. There we go. Okay.
I did do what you could want with me.
I think that maybe you just remembered something. Having heard Mr. Gossip's last statement, I mean.
What I think is we're all nothings, really. We try to dress ourselves up as something else, but at the end of the day, we're all just street sellers.
That's enough out of you, Sandwich. Keep your trap shut now. Unless you want us to make you into a real sandwich.
When I saw the Reaper, he fell clean over on his backside.
That's it?
Oh, you rotten beggar! I told you to keep that a secret!
He screamed, it did. Scream and scramble off on all fours. That's what I wanted to say.
Mr. Gossip, is this true?
The floor was dead slippery, that's why. Patted my hand on a filthy pool of blood, didn't I? Yuck!
What? A pool of blood?
But listen here, even when I was sprawled on the floor, I still kept giving that Reaper a cold hard stare, and don't you forget it!
Let's just go back a little. Did you say you got blood on your hands?
Oh, did I? Happens to the best of us at times, doesn't it? So I was scared, so I slipped over. We can keep it just between us, can't we?
No, Mr. Gossip. I'm going to have to ask you to add that information to your formal testimony.
Oh, if I must.
The witness will amend his testimony to include the aforementioned details at once.
Kazuma ain't got shit to say. But this is the part where I'm buzz him down. Fucking present. Motherfucking handprint. Do I do anything else? Okay. So you wiped the blood off from your hand on the floor of the room. Are you quite sure about that?
Well, what else do you expect me to have done, eh? Does it really matter?
Objection!
The police found no such handprint on the floor during their investigations. What exactly is the— shut the fuck up. If you listen, you'll find out, Prosecutor Asogi. Certainly, there was no bloody handprint found on the floor. What are you trying to say? There was a handprint in blood left very clearly at the scene. On the back of this notice board.
Ah, yes, indeed. Indisputably a handprint in the distinctive color of blood.
Oh, you're dead right! That's my hand! I'll do it anywhere!
Hot. Actual hero. The fuck? The witness very definitely testified that he wiped his hand on the floor. Any handprints on the back of the board are irrelevant. Not if the board itself had fallen over onto the floor. In that case, it's quite possible for the witness's handprint to have ended up there. Just look at the floor plan of the room. The notice board was in the opposite corner of the room to the victim, and in an upright position. Even if it had somehow been toppled and was lying on the floor at the time, it would have been in a considerable distance from the body.
I fell over when I came across the body, so I was basically right next to the corpse, not on the other side of the room.
In other words, the defense's assertion is contradictory. Yeah, it is. There's a very definite contradiction here, for which there must be a reason.
I take it you formulated a proper hypothesis, counsel. Regarding this apparent discrepancy between the witness's account and the handprint found at the scene.
I have, my lord. The board moving. The real contradiction here is the handprint itself, not where it was found. As the court can see, it's upside down.
Good gracious, so it is. If the witness has put his hand against the board, the finger should be pointing upwards.
What does that tell us? It tells one simple fact. When this handprint was made, the board must have been lying on the floor as I previously suggested, which means that after the incident, it must have been moved. What? Oh no. I'm finished. You're claiming that somebody moved the notice board after the shooting? Then tell the court who. I don't know that yet, but the point is, when you consider all the testimony we've heard so far, we can now be very clear on one point.
And that would be...
The position of the notice board at the time of the incident, my lord.
So, counsel, I must ask you to clarify your assertion for the court.
So I was supposed to say the spot to the right of the doorway. Really?
Take that!
This is the only possible location.
Immediately adjacent to the doorway.
If the court would think back to the testimony given by the defendant earlier, he said that when he entered the room it was dark and he couldn't see the body. Rick! If the notice board had been there, the body would have been completely hidden from view, and the light from the candles would have been blocked, making the room appear darker. But the accused also claims that the victim's body simply appeared before him.
That's true. Or in his precise words. Just as I picked the firearm up to examine it, the door flew open and I heard a man scream. It was only then the body of Inspector Gregson appeared before me.
I don't don't know about calling it a scream, but it was talking about me and no mistake. Because it was me that kicked the door open.
If you look again at the floor plan, consider what would happen if the door to the room was flown open with force. I can't! Thor struck the notice board, knocking it over, making the victim's body visible.
Good gracious!
My client has told nothing but the truth. He has simply described what he saw.
Ah!
Why are they both stanced up like that?
Order! Counsel, how has this not come to light before now?
After the incident, somebody must have righted the board and moved it into the position where the police, myself, and my colleagues saw it when investigating the room.
Witness! What do you have to say for yourself?
What? Me, my lord?
You and your fellows were at the scene before anybody else. Goes without saying, you must know something about the position of the notice board.
The witnesses in the stand will testify again
In the next episode, thank you so much for watching. It's getting a bit late. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.